Coach, last week, obviously, the big play, 15 plays over 15 yards. How important are those splash plays to this offense?
Well, I think it's one of the top stats in football is probably turnovers combined with explosive plays, right? And so, we call that toxic differential, the ability to combine getting big plays while at the same time being safe enough to not turn the football over. And, we have guys that are big play guys if we can get them the ball in the right situations. And obviously that happened last week. So, we're hopeful that, we want to be an efficient offense, run the ball, have the ability to convert on third down, but at the same time, when the play's there, go make it. And that can come through scheme, and a lot of times it comes with guys just making great plays. And I thought a lot of guys made great plays last week.
A couple guys dinged up on the offensive line. How's that group looking right now, depth-wise?
Good. Rhule practiced. He looks good. John Carlo's gotten some, he's in the return to play process, so he looks good. Xavier Newman's healthy now. He's playing really well. So we're probably, unfortunately with Malin out, but we're probably at full strength that we've been in a while, which is obviously good for us.
So you think all three of those linemen you mentioned are going to play then?
Newman's been playing. I think Rhule will play, and John Carlo's kind of a day-by-day thing with the doctors.
And how about Clay? How's he?
Clay should be available to go.
Okay.
Whether they put him in or not, I'll wait and see what the defense decides, but he's healthy.
Was that a knee with him, or?
With Clay, it was his knee.
Okay.
How has Jake looked? I mean, has he looked good out there?
Yeah, he's just a little bit out of shape. He's missed a lot of camp, and you can run and get in the underwater treadmill and all those cool things we have, but until you're out here with helmet, pads on, inside run, and then going to the team run play action like we were yesterday, it's not, you're not fully there. So Elias is, improving, Connor's improving, Jake's improving. So we have a lot of guys we feel like we can put in on the O-line.
They played a couple QBs in their first game. Do you prepare for both, or is it just more about what y'all need to do?
We prepare for what they do offensively, and Coach Borges is a guy that we have a long, not only history with, but a lot of respect for, and he's a tremendous pro style coach, and what they've done now is they've added in a lot of the zone read and quarterback run game, and they went tempo in the last game, and they've got receivers who can get open, and so we're preparing for all of that. Also knowing it's game 2, they'll do some things we haven't seen, so. We prepare for all of it. We rep the things we think we're going to see, and at the same time, we continue to try to build our system. And the thing I tell our players is, the issue is always us. We prepare for what we're going to see, but at the end of the day, we control how we play. And so, so I think we're just trying to anticipate. Hey, I think we might get this, we might get that, and also looking at things that have hurt us recently. And sometimes people add those in, so we'll be prepared for all of them as best we can.
Coach, in the Arizona State first UTSA game, Arizona State had 10 sacks and 15 tackles for loss. Are there some takeaways from that game that y'all are going to try to use up front?
We're going to do what we do. I think that game, just kind of got away in the second half. So then now you're in more of a pass rush mode, drop back mode. I think the biggest thing for us is our defensive line just playing with an edge. We did a lot of movement last game, and we didn't really finish the movements. We're kind of playing tentatively up front, and that's not really who we are. We want to get off and move and change gaps and try to win with quickness, and didn't really see that from us last week. And so, I like their offensive line. And I know they were under duress because of the score, but they're well coached. They're athletic. They're playing a true freshman. They're playing a JC transfer, so they'll be significantly improved this week from last week, and but I like from them what I see. They have a downhill physical run game. They throw play action. They throw 3-step. They do a lot of things well. So our defensive line, getting Greg back in the second half will help. But our defensive line has to continue to take a step because we didn't look the way we wanted to look last week.
How much
Tyrone
was the
Hunt
defense
back?
challenged because of that? You talked about the brand not being physical enough. How much was the defense challenged this week by Coach Snow, by you, whoever?
I think all of us have been. We're all challenged. To me, none of that was the way we wanted to look on Saturday. And is it better? Yes, but we don't want to be a team that, if we get a lead, we relax, and if we get down, we quit. We want to be a team that fights and plays for 60 minutes. And that to me is really all that we say, our brand. Like, I want you to turn the tape on and not know if we're winning or losing by the way we play. And we didn't see that on Saturday. So that starts with the coaches. That starts with me. It starts with us. Do we have an edge? Are we coaching like our hair's on fire? Are our players preparing like their hair's on fire? Are we going home early? Or, are we waking up late as coaches? Are we in here first thing, and out late at night, grinding? Are our players grinding? And so that to me is just that mentality you have to have. And, obviously this team came in here last year and ran for 200 yards against us. And so that's not what we want, and they won the physical battle last year. So we know what they're capable of doing. They've got tremendous players and well coached, and they're going to present a lot of challenges. So that's really the biggest challenge this week, is making sure we know it's going to be just an absolute battle, and we've got to make sure that we are prepared for 60 minutes of fighting.
Do you have to harp on that consistency and edge a little more when you're going on the road and guys are going to be out of their comfort zone here in Waco?
I think sometimes it's maybe even a little bit easier. It's like, when we're at home, there's, there's just so much going on. There's, the bear walk. There's, cheerleaders are there, which I know they're on the road with, but there's just so much going on. It's such a show, and it's comfortable. It's comfortable to be at home, and so, that's great. It gives you a lot of energy, but, you want to have an edge too. And so sometimes when you go on the road and you're just kind of sequestered in the hotel, and it's just us, and it's a night game again, so we're sitting there all day, eating and sleeping, watching games on TV. You just hope that you kind of come together and rally together, and you're going into, opponent's territory, hostile territory, a team that we respect. We know it's going to be loud. We know that they're going to have a great crowd, and I'm hopeful that that mentality is one that our guys will, relish and rally to.
You mentioned getting Greg back in the second half. Will having him in that added depth at D-end help you prevent some of those big outside plays that you saw from ACU?
Yeah, and really most of those plays were really more on the secondary and the linebackers. They were doing a nice job of pinning a guy and cutting it all the way back. So, I always tell the D-line, they're responsible for everything tackle to tackle, and so some of those balls just kind of really got outside of us. So I wasn't unhappy with it up front. I just thought we relented a little bit, just everybody. And but Greg will provide us with a lot. He'll provide us with a spark. He'll provide us with energy. He'll provide us with another person we can put in there and rotate. And Greg can also go inside. He'll free James Lynch up. James can go inside, which is where he's really special as well. Locke can go inside. So we have some things we can do in terms of moving some guys around, keeping guys fresh. And so, we anticipate them, that they went tempo last game. Maybe they'll go fast. And the more bodies we have that can play, at a high level, obviously the better we'll be.
Does playing in the dome, the noise, does any of that change your preparation, or how do you prepare for that?
I'll let the players listen to music during practice, which they always ask for, and I say no most times. So we'll put a little bit of crowd noise in here today to be prepared for it. But it really hurt people a lot, probably more 10 years ago when everything wasn't signaled. But now everything's being signaled the way it is, and the quarterback's cadence. You just have to be careful of his cadence, make sure they can hear it and all that. But other than that, to me, it's just about communication. What we don't want to do is give up a big play because we didn't communicate on defense. And I told the offense, man, it takes something special to be a defensive player. I told the team this today. On offense, you can miss a block and say, hey, my bad. It's 7 yards instead of 11 yards. You can take a play off, and maybe I take a play off on the O-line and my guy beats me, but the quarterback scrambles, or I take a play off and it's 2nd and 10. If I take a play off on defense, or you miss a play on defense, it can be 6. And so we need to have 11 guys, that are all playing, of one mind and all playing the exact same details. And so a lot of that's communication. We can signal by hand, we can signal, vocally. When it gets loud, you have to do a little bit more in terms of hand signaling and fighting to make sure that you get communicated. And so that'll be a challenge. Everything's new every time you do it. So we'll replicate it. We replicated it yesterday. We practiced hard yesterday. We'll practice hard today and see if we can't get ourselves ready.
Of all the numbers coming out of last week, what was the most encouraging? What was most disappointing?
200 or 220 yards rushing, or whatever the number was the most discouraging. Especially for them becoming the big plays that they came on. That was probably frustrating. And encouraging was probably 23 guys getting their first action. I think that's going to bode well for us in the future. That many guys got a chance to get in there and play. And if we would have been able to maybe make one more stop a little bit earlier, score one more touchdown, it would have been over earlier. We could have played guys, longer, in the second half. But I think that depth and that experience will help us. I thought running for 295 on offense was also good. We have to be a little more consistent in the run game. But both rushing numbers were encouraging and discouraging. And with the speed that we have outside, on you know, both on offense and defense. I'm just hopeful that we have the ability to, you know, control the game. You know, run the ball on third down so that we can control the line of scrimmage, stay on the field in all games, and then hopefully have a chance to make explosives. And so you can't make explosive plays if you're not on the field. And so that's why third down and running the ball is so important to creating big play opportunities.
Coach, you had that 50-yard field goal. Does that kind of, what does that do for your options in the game, knowing that you got a kicker that can make it like that?
You know, it makes it, it's a great thing to have. It makes more decisions for me, right? You know, because a lot of times if you think you can't make it, you go for it or you punt it. But I mean, that was good from probably 58, you know, and so glad to see Connor kind of hitting his groove right now. You know, the operation, you know, Chris Lutzel, tremendous snaps, and you know, Galich with the holds. So I like seeing that they're working well in concert. It just allows us maybe to take one more shot in the red zone or be a little bit more aggressive, knowing that, hey, we have points here. And so it's a good thing to have. And I thought it was great to be able to kick the ball off and, you know, kick it into the end zone and out of the end zone. You know, that's just one less opportunity for the opponent to have an explosive play, have an explosive return. So there were some good things in the kicking game, and there were some things that weren't so good, as we all know, in terms of punt returns, and some of our field goal protection wasn't good enough. We have to shore that up. We're working to shore that up right now.
Will Connor have a chance to kick longer field goals if those opportunities present themselves?
I mean, possibly. You know, I mean, I think that was what from the, was that from like the 34-yard line or something like that, 33-yard line. So, you know, this weekend being in the dome, you know, if he feels good, you might go out to the 37, 38, you know, make it a 58-yarder. I mean, that might be, you know, no wind or anything like that. I might feel good about that. So he may win it from here the other day from a long way. So you know, we'll give him opportunities. And again, the biggest issue to me is just the protection. You know, because you have to kind of change that angle. And if we're doing a good job up front, then he can get the angle he needs. But yeah, he's a guy that we've always had confidence in, and he's just moving that line back where you feel good about kicking it.
With the true freshmen that played last week, do you revisit, okay, these guys have now played one game, for those that you haven't determined could play all year long? How do you go about doing that?
Just as you said, yeah, we, you know, we just try to take it week by week, you know, and even the guys that played, there's some guys we know, hey, he's going to play all year, so we're just playing him. But for each guy, we just, you know, we updated participation, and we see how many plays they played, and you know, some guys, because of an injury here or there, maybe we don't have the luxury of even thinking about it, but we're just trying to make sure we think about playing those guys only a certain amount of games. So just go to each week and say, hey, how about this week? Where are we? And just kind of take it day by day by day.
How did Ross handle the snapping with linebacker?
He did a great job. Yeah, he played well at linebacker. You know, he'll be way more comfortable moving forward. I think a lot of guys were out there, you know, and trying to not make mistakes. And this is a game, you know, you got to go play it. You know, we want our guys to be precise and be prepared and be detailed and be disciplined. But you also have to go play. And so the more you play, the more comfortable you get of that balance, you know, between precision and aggression, you know. And so we talk to the guys all the time about precise aggression. And, you know, for game one, a lot of guys are kind of trying not to make a mistake. And then game two, you hope that they get better, and they have to get better because these guys will be coming after us.
How's Charlie been doing? Is everything look good with him?
Yeah, Charlie practiced really well yesterday. He looks great. So he looks like, you know, that the medical staff has done a good job loosening his back up, and looks like it was more of a muscular thing, I think, as opposed to, you know, anything structural.
Are Tyrone Hunt and Bryson Jackson going to be available this week? And were there any guys that got banged up after the Abilene Christian game that may not be available? Yeah,
Tyrone and Bryson won't be available. Tyrone probably another couple weeks. And for Kedrick Vaughns is right now limited probably. He's just been dealing with a lingering, you know, lower body injury that's bothering him. And so, you know, Blake Lynch will go back and play safety for us, and Henry will play Sam. So hopefully, you know, V will be, hopefully he'll be available on a limited basis, depending on how he feels.